Okay, sige, let's proceed now to the learning theories. The first theory that we're going to discuss is yung reinforcement theory. Okay? So reinforcement theory, it emanates from classical conditioning of Ivan Pavlov, okay? And then modified by, sino ang author nito? Si B.F. Skinner. Okay? Minodify yung classical conditioning, gumamit ngayon siya ng reinforcement. Reinforcement theory, it proposes that pwede nating baguhin yung behavior ng isang tao by offering reinforcement. Okay? And punishment and extinction. So ini-emphasize ng theory na to that on the learning behavior of a person and suggest that the learner will repeat the behavior which is attached with a positive outcome or result. Parang yung the law of effect, okay? Okay? By Thorndike. Okay? So kung yung behavior na yan resulted to a positive outcome or positive result, you will likely repeat that kind of behavior. But if that behavior resulted into a negative outcome or negative consequence, most likely, hindi mo ulitin yung behavior na yan. So parang ganun yung sinasabi ng reinforcement theory. So when we give people, when we provide them training programs, tapos yung training program na yan resulted into a positive outcome or result, okay, in the next coming training program, they will be more active, participative, and collaborative because naging positive nga yung decision nila and even yung behavior nila in joining training programs. So we have here, kaya nga reinforcement theory because we have 4 reinforcements na pwedeng gamitin to change, modify, and improve learning behavior of learners or participants. So we have here positive reinforcement, negative, extinction, and punishment. Okay, I know you are familiar with this one. It was discussed in your BA 24 organizational behavior concepts. So pag positive reinforcement, it is a pleasurable outcome resulting from a behavior. Okay. Then we have here negative reinforcement, the removal of an unpleasant outcome, and extinction naman. Ito yung dalawang side na gusto natin ayaw nating gamitin sa ating training, yung extinction sa punishment. We must focus more on positive reinforcement. Okay. So the reinforcement theory applied to the workplace means that organizations can change the employees' behavior by using rewards, punishment, and extinction. Okay? But we will be discussing itong reinforcement theory from a training perspective, Okay. So itong reinforcement theory, okay, it suggests that for learners to acquire knowledge, change behavior, or modify their skills, the trainer needs to identify what outcomes the learner finds most positive and negative. Okay? Kita mo doon, kailangan nating gamitin itong theory na to, okay, to acquire knowledge, change behavior based on the outcomes. Okay, na ma-identify natin. Okay. So pag na-explain natin sa mga participants, sa mga learners that this training program will have a positive outcome, okay, and by not attending this training initiative, there's a negative outcome, most likely they will be active or participative sa ating training. So we have to link yung training natin sa mga outcomes so that learners may acquire knowledge or skills or change their behaviors. Okay. So this theory also suggests that training and development program should be aligned with the organizational objectives, and a positive outcome should be expected with such training and development program. So yung sinabi ko kanina na dapat may ipakita natin sa ating mga participants, sa ating mga learners na napakalaki ng impact na to sa business, sa organization. Di ba? Diniscuss natin sa Unit 1 that all training and development programs must help, must be aligned with our organizational objectives. Dapat makatulong in the achievement of the organizational objectives. Okay? At merong positive outcome by attending. Ano ba yung mga positive outcome? You increase your knowledge, your skills, and therefore you you would be able to perform your job effectively, higher level of performance, and there's a greater chance that you will be promoted. Kapag nakita yon ng mga empleyado, kapag na-explain ng maayos sa kanila yon na mayroong positive outcome, there is a greater chance that the training will be more effective and the participants will be more active in your various training and development programs. So by offering also rewards, okay, in the form of bonuses, salary raises, promotion, awarding certificates after the training program can also be associated with training and development activities, and these rewards will definitely generate a positive outcome. So yun ang gamit ng reinforcement theory. We are reinforcing yung behavior, yung knowledge, and even yung kanilang participation by providing them positive outcomes. So positive reinforcement ang mostly na ginagamit natin. Pwede rin gamitin yung negative and even punishment and extinction. Okay? So nagets ba natin yung reinforcement theory? Okay, so walang so silence means yes siguro, no? Next theory is yung social learning theory. Okay, by Bandura. Okay. So ang social learning theory, ang sinasabi naman nito is, it emphasizes that people learn by observing other persons o yung tinatawag nilang na model whom they believe are credible and knowledgeable. Okay? So this theory recognizes that behavior that is reinforced or rewarded tends to be repeated. So this model, the model's behavior skill that is rewarded is adopted by the observer. So I believe lahat tayo dito meron tayong mga tinatawag na mga idol or yung meron tayong tao na tinitingala na gusto nating gayahin yung kanyang path, yung kanyang footstep, di ba? Okay? Yun yung sinasabi natin dito at ito yung main premise ng social learning theory. Okay? So, we are able to learn new skills or behavior by two steps, okay, or by two concepts, by directly experiencing the consequences of using that behavior or skill, or the process of observing others and seeing the consequences of their behavior. Okay? So, yun yung kwan ng social learning theory, main premise ng social learning theory. Okay? Maka-develop na new skills, behavior, and knowledge based on the consequences of my behavior or skill, or pwede rin na makagain na new skills, knowledge, and behavior by observing others and seeing yung consequences ng kanilang behavior. No, di model mo, di tultuladem, di kahit mga pagbalinan tumit, okay? Makita mo ni Jay nga, na-promote sila, nag-list promotion na, okay? Nagbaling nga vice president in span of 5 years, kahit tumatikas Jay. So parang ganun yung concept ng social learning theory. You are able to study the behavior, the thinking, the mindset of your model, and therefore, you somehow follow yung kanyang mga ginagawa, yung kanyang ginawa, so that you would be able to also receive the consequences of the behavior na katulad ng ginawa niya. Okay. Now, this social learning theory is being affected by self-efficacy. Ano ba ang self-efficacy? Self-efficacy, ito yung the person's judgment about whether he or she can successfully learn knowledge and skills. Okay. So a trainee with high self-efficacy will put forth effort to learn in the training program. Nanadta. Okay. So as you can see, this is pretty common sense, ano? Okay. If you don't believe in yourself na kaya mong matuto ng bagong knowledge and skills, kahit pa pag-trainingin ka everyday, kahit pa pag-trainingin ka sa napaka-bonggang school with all the positive outcomes, but if you don't believe, okay, na kaya mong matuto, walang silbi, or hindi maging effective ang training na yan. So, napaka-importante that for organizations, before they join or invite yung mga employees to join training program, they have to measure first yung self-efficacy levels ng mga tao. Kasi sayang lang naman yung pera, yung time, yung mga resources, kapag hindi naniniwala yung mga trainee that they could learn knowledge and skills. But kapag hindi na naniwala in the first place, yung mga empleyado, meron naman tayong mga various steps here to enhance or increase yung self-efficacy levels ng ating mga empleyado. So we could use verbal persuasion, logical verification, modeling, and even past accomplishments. So nasa handout na yan, and this could easily be understood. Now, etong social learning theory, meron tayong process dito eh. Okay? If you look into your handout, meron tayong 4 dito, yung retention, yung retention, or yung attention, retention, motor reproduction, and motivational processes. So pag sinasabi natin attention, this suggests that the person cannot learn by observation unless they are aware of the important aspects of the model's performance. Okay, dapat na makita nila. Kaya nakalagay dito yung model stimuli, trainee, and other characteristics. So the learners must be aware of their skills or behavior they are supposed to observe. And the model must clearly be identified and must be credible also. Okay? And the learner must have the physical capability to observe the model, especially the sensory capability. Dapat makita na. Nabulag na rin. Handang makuha na. Observe. Also, a learner who has successfully learned other skills or behavior by observing the model is more likely to attend to the model. And then we have here now yung second step, which is retention. So the learners must remember the behavior or skills that they are observing. So this is now the role of retention. You know? Learners have to code, to observe behavior and skills in memory in an organized manner so they can recall them for appropriate situations. Tapos lang muna doon, review kayo, di ba? Doon ko digiti coding and organization and rehearsal nga mas pasama. Okay, you create codes through abbreviation, acronyms, okay? And then somehow you organize the various data and somehow rehearse it para ma-retain yung knowledge and skill na yan. Next is yung ating motor reproduction. This involves trying out. Ito na, ipadas mo na. Kung digiti na-observe mo nga behavior, get effective kanyam can it also produce the result that you wanted. Okay? So you try out and observe behaviors to see if the result or if they result in the same reinforcement that the model received. The ability to reproduce the behavior or skills depends on the extent to which the learner can recall the skills or behavior. Okay, and then lastly, we have the motivational processes. So social learning theory emphasizes that behaviors are reinforced, will be repeated in the future. So kapag depende ka yan sa outcome na magiging mangyari doon sa motor reproduction. So kung maayos, nagaya mo, okay, yung behavior ng ino-observe mo na model, tapos na-achieve mo rin yung gusto mong na outcome. So, na-reinforce yan through positive reinforcement, nakuha mo yung gusto mo, it matched the model performance, therefore, na-achieve natin ngayon yung tinatawag natin na learning. Okay? Next theory, we have here the goal setting theory. Goal setting theory. Okay? Goal setting theory. So from the word itself, goal setting, it assumes that the behavior results from a person's conscious goals and intentions. Okay? We know that goals are very powerful motivators, correct? Tama ba? Do you agree with that? That goals are powerful motivators in life?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Diba?
sir.
Bakit ba kayo nag-aaral? Kasi meron kayong goal, correct? Bakit kayo nakikinig? Ba't kayo nag-exam? Ba't kayo nag-create ng mga projects ninyo? Ba't kayo gumigising araw-araw? Because you have goals. Goals drives us. Okay? So, also in training and development, goals influences person's behavior by directing energy, attention, sustaining effort over time, and motivating the person to develop strategies for goal attainment. So, in training perspective naman, goal setting theory, pwede rin gamitin to. Okay? Lalong-lalo na kapag yung, kasi merong research regarding goal setting theory. Okay? Na-discuss sa theory of motivation din to, no? It suggests that specific challenging goals result in better performance than vague and challenging goals. Goals have been shown to lead to high performance only if people are committed to the goal. And employees are less likely to be committed to a goal if they believe it is too difficult. So in training perspective, goal setting theory suggests that learning can be facilitated by providing trainees with specific challenging goals and objectives. So specifically, the influence of goal setting theory can be seen in the development of training lesson plans. So goal setting theory, sinasabi ito, the trainings should be tied up to the personal and professional goal of the employees. So when we become partners with targeting yung learning goals ng bawat empleyado, when you give them trainings and development programs, nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na sense of ownership. Okay? So kapag merong sense of ownership, the the employee would value the training and would expend the greatest effort that they could do so that they could acquire new knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Okay, so yun ang goal setting theory naman. Next is we have here the need theories. Okay. So what are the common need theories that you have encountered already in organizational behavior noon? Ano yung mga need theories na yan? Na alam ninyo? Can you name some need theories?
Psychological.
Ano yung mga yon?
Maslow and Adolfo theories.
Yeah, correct. So yung Maslow, yan yung pinaka-common, Maslow hierarchy of need. Yung theory ni Alderfer na ERG theory. Okay? Ano pa yung mga yon? Yung kay McClelland, David McClelland. Okay. So, sinasabi dito sa need theories that na yung value, need theories help to explain the value that a person places on a certain outcomes based on their need. You know, a need motivates a person to behave in a manner to satisfy the deficiency. So these theories, yung mga Maslow hierarchy, Herzberg's two-factor theory, yung theory ni ERG, yung Alderfer's ERG theory, and yung theory ni McClelland na need for achievement, affiliation, and power. No? So this need theory suggests that to motivate learning, trainers should identify trainees' needs and communicate how training program content relates to fulfilling this needs. So giving employees a choice of which training courses to attend can increase their motivation to learn. This occurs because trainees are able to choose programs that best match their needs. Okay? So as training professionals, you have to identify what are the needs that these participants are trying to meet. Okay? And then tailor the training program so that kapag nag-conduct ka ng training design, i-meet natin or i-align natin to yung mga training objectives doon sa mga needs that these employees are trying to fulfill. Okay. Next theory is we have the expectancy theory. You're familiar with this, right? Expectancy theory by Victor Vroom. It suggests that a person's behavior is based on three factors, which are expectancy, instrumentality, and valence. Sa expectancy theory kasi, a person decides to behave in a certain way based on the expected results of a chosen behavior. Okay? So for example, people will be willing to work harder if they think that the extra effort that they expended in the workplace will be rewarded. In essence, individuals make choices based on estimates of how well the expected results of a given behavior are going to match up with or eventually lead to the desired results. Actually, nangyayari to sa sa in our life from our childhood and even up to now. Sa lang in Ilocano terms, datiket ubrag lang detoy, no? Adati benefit na para kanya, lakas dyan. Okay? So, dati positive outcome na kanya. Okay, so kuan natin ket main concept na people will do what they can do if they want to. Kung na, di ba? People will do what they can do if they want to. Okay? Nagets niyo yun? People will do what they can do when they want to. Nakuha niyo yun? People will do what they can do when they want to. Okay. So meron tayong tatlong factor dito, ano? Expectancy, instrumentality, and valence. Okay. So in using this concept, this learning theory in the field of training, okay, makikita natin itong link ng tatlong factor na to. So expectancy pa lang. So parang this is similar to self-efficacy. So in the expectancy theory, a belief that performing a given behavior, for example, attending a training program, is associated with particular outcomes. So being able to better perform your job. Okay. So the expectancy, if the answer to this question is no, yung question number, alo expectancy, ano? Does the trainee have the ability to learn? Does the trainee believe he or she can learn? If the answer to this question is yes, there's a greater chance na learning will occur. Okay? But if the answer to this is no, or if it's mababa yung level ng answer mo ito kasi minsan nirarank niyan eh. Okay? On a scale. So pag mababa yan, it could affect learning. Okay? But we don't say we don't stop at the expectancy. Okay? Meron pa yung other factor na instrumentality kasi uri pa yes dito eh. Ito question 10 to, answer na yes. Yes, I have the ability. Yes, I believe I can learn. But the question is, sa instrumentality naman, does the trainee believe the training outcomes promised will be delivered? Okay? So, ibig sabihin yan, meron bang benefit kapag pumunta ako o nag-attend ako ng training na yan? Okay? Meron bang positive outcomes? Meron ba akong makukuha dyan na good consequences kapag nag-attend ako at tapos tinapos ko, tapos ginawa ko yung training na yan? If the answer is yes, then well and good. Okay. But if the answer is no, it could affect naman na yung learning. But again, there's a third factor. Even we answered yes to these two factors, expectancy and instrumentality, but if the valence factor, eto na, are the outcomes related to training valued? So, ibig sabihin yan is, yung outcomes ba yan na sinasabi ninyo? Gusto ko ba yan? Do I value it? Importante ba yan sa akin? Okay? Kasi kahit mataas yung expectancy, instrumentality, what would happen kapag mababa ang valence? Kasi multiplication yung yung ginamit na tawag dyan. Okay? Multiplication ang ginamit. So, ibig sabihin, kahit mataas ang expectancy, instrumentality, 10, tapos 0 ka sa valence, 0 pa rin ang product, di ba? So, parang example is, let me ask a student, ano? Genevieve. Corpus, are you there? Genevieve.
Yes, sir.
For example, I will give you I will give you 1 million pesos if you will be able to memorize the entire module 2 by tomorrow morning. Nagets mo yung question, yung statement ko? I will give you 1 million pesos tomorrow if you are able to memorize the 17-page module of Unit 2.
Okay,
Using
sir.
our equation, expectancy, do you have the ability to memorize the module until
No,
tomorrow? Do you have the ability?
No, sir.
None. Okay.
No,
Instrumental. Zero ka
none,
dyan, kuman. Zero. Instrumentality. Do
Mm.
you believe that I could provide you 1 million? Or I could pay you 1 million pesos tomorrow?
No, sir.
Minamalit mo ako, ha?
Joke lang, sir.
Okay, yeah. Totoo yun. I cannot provide you 1 million. I don't even have 100,000 in my bank account. How about 1 million? Okay? So, zero dyan. But, do you value the 1 million pesos? Importante para sa'yo 1 million pesos?
Yes, sir.
Oh, mataas ang balance mo. But, again, you will not perform the task. Why? I-memorize mo ba dito module Uri you value 1 million?
No, sir.
Bakit? Kasi mababa ang expectancy
Expectancy.
and instrumentality. Okay. Now, another example. Si Carlot sa Pansiarak pa yan, sa Balimat yan. Ni Erica. Erica Sahagon. Erica, are you there?
Sir.
Okay, Erica. Sample. Using expectancy theory, let's try to see if you're going to perform the task na sasabihin ko sa'yo. Ha? Okay. Mimbagak na, please memorize the first sentence of the module until tomorrow morning, and I will give you 5 pesos.
Sir.
Will you perform the task? Will you be motivated to perform the task?
No, sir.
Bakit? Bakit?
5 pesos. What lang, sir?
Okay, because you don't, yung valence mababa na, di ba? So mababa ang valence. So hindi ka pa rin motivated, to perform the task. Okay. But what if, Erica, okay, please memorize the first paragraph of the first page of the module until tomorrow morning, and I will give you 300 pesos worth of GCash. Would you perform the task? Would you perform the task?
Yes, sir.
Would you be motivated to perform the task? Or mababa yung 300? Gusto mo, for example, 1,000. Oh, I will give you 1,000 worth of GCash if you memorize the first paragraph of the module by tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir.
Expectancy, kaya mo bang i-memorize yung first paragraph hanggang bukas?
Haan, sir.
Oh, first paragraph lang, mga 5 sentences. Kaya bang i-memorize, Dijay? Hindi na itong
sir.
bigat? Okay, expectancy, mataas. Do you believe that I could provide you 1,000 pesos?
Yes, sir.
Of course, I can provide you 1,000. Okay, Bayless, do you value 1,000?
Yes, sir.
Yes, therefore, there is a higher tendency that you're going to perform the task. Okay, nagets natin yung expectancy theory? So, ibig sabihin, kapag nag-provide tayo ng training program, dapat i-assess natin na kaya nilang gawin yon. They have the ability to learn. Number 2 is, dapat merong outcomes. Merong benefits sa kanila. Tapos yung benefit na yan is importante para sa kanila so that ma-achieve natin yung active participation ng ating mga empleyado to join our training programs. Okay? So, yun yung expectancy theory. Okay. Next is yung adult learning theory. So, this is the main focus of our training, or this subject. Okay? Because we will be training adults, yung mga nasa trabaho, yung mga empleyado. These are our adults. So, most of the concept that we're going to apply in training and development is along this theory or principle, adult learning principle or theory. Okay? Because we are not teaching kids anymore. Okay? We are not teaching teenagers. And when we teach adults, when we help them learn, there are also various principles na kailangan nating sundin. Okay? So, sinasabi sa adult learning theory that most successful trainers are the most successful when they understand conditions under which adults learn best. Okay, so napaka-importante na malaman natin paano natututo ang mga adults. Okay. So lahat naman kayo dito adults na, di ba? Kasi 18 years old above na kayo. Okay? So this is the practice or yung pag sinasabi natin adult learning, andragogy, no? Kasi pag we are teaching children, we call this, what do we call this, the process of teaching children, kids, teenagers? Anong tawag doon? Hindi kayo nagbasa ng handout nyo, ha? Pedagogy. Okay? So, yun ang tawag natin sa pag-teach sa mga kids, children, teenagers. But when we are teaching, okay, or helping adults learn, we call that andragogy. So, this was proposed by Knowles, di ba? Knowles. So, ang assumption niya is, etong mga adult, meron silang different way of learning and how they learn. Okay, ano yung mga yon? Ano yung mga 6 assumption na yan ni Knowles? So we have here, etong adults, they need to know why something is important. Okay? Adults have a need to know why they should learn something before investing time in a learning event. So trainers must ensure as early as possible, the purpose for training dapat masabi nila kung ano ba yung purpose ng training na to. And participants needs to know how this information or content is going to affect them, why they should care, and how will it make a difference. Okay? So ang common question ang question dito is, why do I need to know this? Okay? Bakit ko kailangan to? Bakit ko pag-aralan to? Bakit ako mag-training? Okay? So dapat clear sa mga participants bakit sila nagte-training. Kaya nga, they are setting objectives. Pag-usapan natin yan later. Number 2, they have self-concept of who they are. Adults enter any learning situation with an image already of themselves as self-directing, responsible grown-ups. Okay, self-concept na kita nga nabuudan. So trainers must help adults identify their needs and direct their own learning experiences. So they must have to establish their own goals. Number 3, they bring life experiences and want to be recognized. Okay, adults come to the learning opportunity with a wealth of experiences. Okay, and a great deal to contribute in the training or learning process. So trainers are successful when they identify ways to build on and make use of the hard-earned experiences and knowledge of the trainers or participants. And also we have here, they prefer relevance. The adults prefer relevance. They have a strong readiness to learn those things that will help them cope with their daily life effectively. So training that relates sa kanilang mga practical situations is viewed as relevant training. And they are also practical. So kapag nagpa-training tayo ng mga adults, normally doon na kaya digiti doon na nga sa usaw, explanation, and even yung mga too much theories. Okay? So they are willing to devote energy to learn those things that they believe will help them perform a task or solve a problem. So ipakita mo during training, kasi naman makatulong that yung training in their current and future jobs. Then lastly, they are internally motivated. So they are now more responsive to internal motivators. Hanggang dikit external kas lang Mga tagkati candy, ano pa, mga tagkati star, certificate, okay? Or nagkati cash incentive, okay? Most of the time, hindi yan nagmamotivate sa kanila, no? So, ang pwede nating gawin dyan is yung mga internal motivators such as self-esteem, ano pa ba, yung uh, you, uh, you tap them at the back, job well done, yung mga ganon, okay? You appreciate them. Okay? So, these types of internal motivation would be more effective compared to external motivators in terms of teaching or in terms of andragogy. So we have here a table that differentiate the andragogical and pedagogical training. So it's a comparison of andragogy and pedagogy. Okay. Andragogy yan hindi andragogy. Sorry for the typo. So as you can see in the pedagogy, so the instructor is the expert, but in the andragogy, hindi. Okay? Nagiging facilitator mostly ang trainer or instructor sa andragogy. Okay. So another concept that we have to learn is yung ating Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. Bloom's taxonomy, ito na yung ginagamit sa pag-create ng objectives eh. Itong Bloom's taxonomy. Okay? So itong Bloom's taxonomy, sinasabi niya when we design trainings, we have to set objectives, okay? So that we will be able to assess yung learning, understanding ng ating mga learners and how they are going to apply the information into real life. Okay? So, kasi alam naman natin that learning is about influencing behavior, thoughts, things, such as attitude, mindset, intention, awareness. So that at the end of the learning, the behavior of the learner is being developed and thus he or she is better positioned to perform the task at hand. So an organization that will invest in training must have to ensure that their workers are applying yung mga learning skills back into their job. So learning experts or learning designers are using itong Bloom's taxonomy as a way to guarantee learners that they are being equipped with relevant knowledge that they can utilize dun sa kanilang trabaho. So this was created by Bloom, okay? Benjamin Bloom, okay? In 1950. So meron tayong mga classification dito of various objectives and skills na ginagamit ng mga educators, ng mga training leaders, learning designers to set for their students or learners. Meron tayong tatlong core domains here. We have the affective, or we have the cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. Okay. So when we say cognitive, we refer to knowledge. Pag psychomotor, we refer to skills. Pag sasabi natin affective, we refer to attitudes. So pag knowledge involves thinking and experiencing information. Skills includes physical movement or practical application of knowledge. And number 3, we have here yung affective domain, invokes emotion and feeling in the learned knowledge. And then itong Bloom's taxonomy, meron tayong 6 levels of assessment or 6 learning levels. So we have here yung remembering, understanding, application, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. And there are examples here. So we will be discussing this in our next topic thoroughly, when we create program design already. So remembering, the process of retrieving and recalling relevant information from one's long-term memory. Okay, so recall facts and basic concepts. So yung mga pwedeng gawin dito ng mga adjectives or mga verb is define, duplicate, list, memorize, repeat. Kung na. So it's more of remembering. And then understanding, ability to comprehend new information by interpretation and explanation. Then applying, the act of carrying out or implementing gained knowledge. Then we have here analyzing, the ability to determine how knowledge relates to other components. Evaluating, the process of forming systems or theories based on criteria and standards. So just like appraise, argue, defend, judge, select, support, value, critique, weigh. But the highest form of thinking skills, kasi ito pataas to eh. Pero tayo tinatawag na higher order thinking skills. So the more we go up to the pyramid, okay, mas nagagamit yung ating higher order thinking skills. And yung pinakataas, yung create, the act of compiling or reorganizing elements to produce a product or complete whole. So the the level of Bloom's taxonomy suggests that first, dapat bigyan natin sila ng acquisition of basic knowledge. Hanggang magkanapang katapos si create. Paglalo na ang background na. So dapat, start tayo with the remembering, understanding. And then this leads to comprehension. Then after that, we proceed to, once they understand the concept, the theory, when we can apply. Okay, and ultimately be able to analyze etong mga natutunan natin. And then we don't end there. From knowledge to comprehension, to application, to analysis, that dapat meron tayo tinatawag na synthesis and evaluating. So they must be able to evaluate now and create something from that concept na na-remember nila, understand nila, na-apply and analyze nila. Okay? So we have an example here na pwede natin gamitin kapag tayo ay nag-create or nag-conduct tayo ng learning design. For example, we have, of course, creating and managing an Excel database, MS Excel database. So, makikita mo dito yung progression, from remembering to creating. So, remembering, siyempre, discuss mo pa lang what is Excel database management. So, yan, understanding, application, until makadalong kay Jai, create. So create the database. So, for example, in our subject, here in training and development, first, we will be discussing training concepts, training process, okay? And then you will be able to determine, pakausaran na dito yung training for example, in our topic ngayon, pakausaran dito yung learning theories and principles, saan itong i-apply, ito create na team, training design so create again, and then nag-implement kayo team, training and development based on your training design. Okay? So, yun. I'll be giving you this PowerPoint naman. So, you can apply this Bloom's taxonomy throughout your corporate training programs kapag pinili nyo ang training na puntahan. Okay? So, you could use each level to create objectives that are developed in various parts of the year. Okay? So, by using Bloom's taxonomy framework, corporate learners o yung mga ating participants, meron silang clear sense of direction and understanding of the goals they aim to achieve. So, etong Bloom's taxonomy would provide us a great foundation for developing objectives and establishing benchmarks. So, by applying Bloom's taxonomy into our corporate training strategy, we could enhance the learning experiences, mobilize goals, provides the analytics that your organizations need. Okay? So, yun na yung mga concept natin sa learning theories and principles. So, now let's proceed to the learning process. Okay? So, this, natapos na natin kung ano yung mga theories, kung ano yung mga models, mga principles. Okay, now let's proceed now to the process of learning. Okay? So we will be studying two models here. Yung model ni Gagne at saka ni Kolb. Okay. So itong model ni Gagne, Gagne's 9 levels of learning. Okay? So this provides us a step-by-step approach that could help managers, trainers, and facilitators structure their training so that yung mga participants will get the most from their learning opportunities. So meron tayong ditong, actually 9 dapat ito, pero yung kasing first step is yung gaining attention, so hindi na included. So in this process, ni Gagne, sinasabi niya dito yung mga elements required for effective learning or ano ba yung mga conditions for effective learning. So this is useful for all types of learning, ano? Kahit pa sa classroom, kahit sa mga adults. Okay. So this model gives trainers and educators a checklist to use before they engage in teaching and training activities. So each step highlights a form of communication activities or communication that aids the learning process. So kapag na-complete itong mga step na to, learners are much more likely to be engaged and to retain the information or skills that they are being taught. Okay. So we have here, itong mga to, ano? So first step is yung supposed to be, it should be gaining attention. Okay. So gaining attention, tumatimong na ito. So you have to get their attention. So ito yung tatawag natin na reception. Okay? Kasi nagrigat mo ng mga rugika, no, hamo na ara di jay, attention da, na. So mostly, ito yung ginagamit ng mga teachers and even training facilitators. So we have to start the learning experience by gaining the attention of our audience. So, pwedeng gawin natin yan by, how do we apply this, gaining attention? So we could use this, we could gain attention by raising the volume of our voice, gesturing, showing a short video on the topic of instruction, and katulad ng ginawa ko kanina, no? Meron tayong konting student engagement so that at least man lang makuha natin yung attention nila before we start the training. Then number 2 is yung expectancy na, yung expectancy. So, informing learners of the objective. So, we have to ensure that our participant knows what they need to learn and that they understand what they're about to learn in this new information. Okay? So, we could explain to them what they will have to learn by the end of the session, explain to them how their learning is going to benefit them and even the organization. Okay? So, yun yung step number 2. Step 3 is yung retrieval, yung stimulating recall of prior learning. So, when participants learn something new, they match the new information with their related information or topics they've learned in the past. So, you have to, as facilitators, we have to review any previous learning that they have done, okay, and apply it to what they're going to learn in that seminar or training. Also, it might be good to ask also participants if they have previous experiences with the topic. So, if they have experience with that previous training, pwede na tayong makapag-create ng connection between what they are learning and their previous learning. And then, doon nila malalaman na, relevant pala itong or connected pala itong pinapag-aralan natin ngayon sa mga previous learning ko. So I might be able to or I might be more attentive and participative and active in this training. Number 4 is yung ating presenting the stimulus or yung selective perception. So na-connect natin yung learning nila previous at dun sa current. So we are now presenting the new information to the group in an effective manner. So we organize the information in the logical and easy to understand manner. So we could do this by using variety of media and styles such as visual cues, verbal instruction, active learning, so that it will suit people with different learning styles. Number 5 is to provide guidance. This includes case studies, analogies, and storytelling to put your team members or participants in and offer them further understanding. So, in this step, we are helping our participants learn and retain the information by providing alternative approaches that illustrate the information that that you are trying to teach them. Okay. Then number 6, we have here, ito na, yung eliciting performance or responding. So at this stage, We are now ensuring that our people can demonstrate yung kanilang knowledge of what they are being taught. And alam mo naman, pag adult, minsan yung mga yan is they want to show na nakaya nila na meron silang natutunan in that training. So, dito na, pwede na yung tinatawag natin na exercise, ano? Practical exercises. Then, 7, yung providing feedback. Importante rin to yung reinforcement. Okay. So, after the team demonstrated their knowledge or skill, you have to provide feedback and reinforce any points as necessary. And then lastly, yung 8 and 9 natin, you assess performance. Ito yung retrieval step. So your team should be able to complete a test or other measurement tool to show that they learn the material or skill effectively. So, ganyan, yung number 8. And then number 9, to enhance retention, okay, your team or your participants show that they retain information by transferring their new knowledge or skills to situations that are different from the ones you've trained them on. Okay? So mabaling may apply da. Mangsarak dati sa baling na way on how they are going to apply yung kanilang new knowledge and skill. Okay? So yun, yung 9 levels of learning process ni Gagne. Next is yung, ito naman, learning cycle ni Kolb's. Kolb's learning cycle o yung tinatawag natin na experiential learning cycle. So meron siyang 4-stage process that explains how we learn through experience. Okay. So this model shows that for effective learning to occur, you must pass through these 4 stages. Okay. So we have here concrete experience, reflective observation, and abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. So pag sinasabi natin concrete experience, it means that it's not enough that we are watching someone else do it or read about it or teach about the concept. We must do it by ourselves for learning to occur. So this could happen if we try a new task or perform an existing task in a new way. So the aim of this step is to create a concrete experience through actual or practical experience. Okay? So, Obraem, tapno ma-experience mo talaga lang sa usaw. Okay? Number 2 is yung reflective observation. So at this stage, this involves the after practice mo, di ba? Inubrang, medyo skill or in-apply mo lang ang knowledge. Second now is yung reflective observation, which means we are taking a step back from the act of doing to look at the bigger picture and review what we have experienced. So you are now having a step back and provide your own assessment of what you have done. Okay? So you might be asking yourself, how could you perform this task, or how can this be applied in a different circumstance? Okay, so parang ganoon yung reflective observation, or can this be applied to other circumstances? Yung ginawa ko, yung knowledge ko na to, pwede ko pang gawin from other aspects or areas. Okay. Number 3, we have here yung abstract conceptualization. So in this stage, you make sense of what you have just experienced. So to do this, sometimes you just don't look at what you've just done, but you also pull in other information, theories, and ideas you're familiar with. So parang from what I've experienced, from what I have observed, and my reflection, parang you are now creating a new model, or you are now presenting new idea, creating a model. Okay, parang you create something new based on what you experience and from what you reflect. Okay? So, gagawa ka ng theory mo. Parang ganon. Okay? Etong abstract conceptualization. Okay? And then lastly, we have here yung active experimentation. So from experiencing it, from reflecting from experience, and from creating, okay, conceptualization, creating a model or new idea, you try to experiment. Okay? You try to apply. You try to put into action yung new idea mo, yung new model na yan. Okay? So this is the final stage already. When you consider how you will put what you have learned into practice. Okay? And then, repeat the cycle na naman tayo dyan. Okay? So yun yung Kolb's learning cycle. And another concept in the Kolb's learning or the experiential learning theory by Kolb is yung ating tinatawag na Kolb's learning styles. Okay? So meron tayong 4 daw na learning styles. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng ating mga participants o learners pare-pareho ng learning styles. Meron tayong mga tinatawag na preferred learning styles. So we have here diverging, assimilating, converging, accommodating. Okay? So what do you think? Saan kayo dito nagpo-fall? Kung sinasabi natin kasing diverging, okay, feeling and watching. So you prefer learning style when you can see things from different perspectives. You prefer to watch rather than do. Prefer to collect information and then use your imagination to solve problems. So kapag ikaw ay nasa diverging, you usually use this learning style. You prefer to work in groups, take feedback well, and you are interested in different cultures and people. We also have here assimilating, simulating, watching and thinking mode. So you prefer learning style, you enjoy ideas and theories. You are less interested in people's side of things. Okay. So kapag ikaw ay may ganitong learning style, you prefer or you often work as the technical expert, okay, just like a software engineer, scientist. You prefer to learn by reading, taking lectures, having the time to think things through. Converging naman is yung doing and thinking. So ikaw yung tao na you prefer to work with technical expert, but you are hindi ka lang puro libro na book knowledge or theory, but you apply. Okay, itong mga theory na to. Okay? In the hands-on manner, way to solve problems. Then lastly, we have accommodating. Yung doing and feeling naman. So you prefer to learn through doing. You prefer to use their gut feel rather than a detailed analysis. Okay, so you prefer to use your gut rather than a detailed logical analysis. Okay, so let's have a short survey using our Slido. Okay, among these 4 learning styles of Kolb, which is your most preferred way to absorb, process, understand, and retain information? You go to slido.com. Okay, so yun. I'm happy that most of you nasa part ng converging and accommodating. So it's more on doing talaga, no? Gusto mo gumawa ka. Gusto mo always na you perform hands-on activities. Okay, sige, yun ang gagawin naman natin dito sa subject na to. More on hands-on tayo. Okay? So I will end na this this active poll so that we could proceed, ano? Next naman is yung ating other learning types or preferences is yung tinatawag natin na mga visual learners, auditory learners, kinesthetic and reading and or verbal learners. Kung ano to. So among this type of learning, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and reading and writing, dan sa video na natin, wait lang ha. Yan daw.
Are you a visual learner, an auditory learner, a kinesthetic learner, or a combination of 2 or all 3? To make your study time more effective, think about how you learn the best. We all have certain modes that we employ to make it easier to learn and remember information. So, know your learning style. What's your style? Visual learners like to read and are often good spellers. They may find it hard to follow oral instructions or even to listen unless there is something interesting to watch. When visual learners study, they often benefit from graphic organizers such as charts and graphs. Flashcards often appeal to them and help them learn, especially if they use colored markers, which will help them form images in their mind as they learn words or concepts. Auditory learners, by contrast, like oral instructions and may find written materials confusing or boring. They often talk to themselves and may even whisper aloud when they read. They like being read aloud too. Auditory learners will benefit by saying things aloud as they study and by making tapes for themselves and listening to them later. Oral repetition is also an important study tool. Making up rhymes or other oral mnemonic devices will also help them study, and they may like to listen to music as they work. Kinesthetic learners like to stay on the move. They often find it difficult to sit still for a long time and will often tap their feet and gesticulate a lot while speaking. They tend to learn best by doing rather than observing. Kinesthetic learners may want to walk around as they practice what they are learning, because using their body helps them remember things. Taking notes and making flashcards are important ways of reinforcing knowledge for the kinesthetic learner. It is important to know that most people learn using a mixture of styles, although they may have a distinct preference for one style over the others. Determine which is your dominant style, but be open to strategies for all types of learners. So, have a look at this short summary here. Visual learner, form images in your mind, use color codes, use flashcards. Auditory learner, say things out loud, record tapes for yourself, explain things to others. Kinesthetic learner, write it down, walk or move around as you study, act it out.
Okay, so what's your style? So using our Slido manin, okay, we proceed. The same code. What's your style? Okay, so more on kinesthetic learners kayo, ano? Talagang doing application, gano'n yung pan ninyo. Okay, so we're done with our survey. Always remember na in the training, meron tayong mga usually na ma-encounter ng mga ganitong mga learning styles or preferences in a training session at one time. Okay? So ano ang pwedeng gawin ng mga trainers, okay? To address this learning preferences, okay? So we have to accept that people learn in different ways. Okay? Iba-iba talaga. So that's why we have to create strategies on how to address itong mga learning preferences ng ating mga participants. So we use different methods that facilitate learning for different preferences. And also, when designing or delivering training, we have to strive to create a variety of approaches that utilize techniques and activities from all these learning preferences.